Coming up on the Road to Detroit 2021, we'll take you inside one of the top-rated farm systems in all of baseball.
It's a great time to be a Tiger.
2020 first overall pick Spencer Torkelson is leading the way, but his draft mates are making plenty of noise on their own. Later on, we'll check in on the headliner from the 2019 draft, a former high school star who appears to be on the fast track to the Motor City. Plus, we'll get updates on the 3 young pitchers who could be at the top of the Tigers' rotation for years to come.
That's a 1-2-3 start.
All of that and more is up next on the Road to Detroit 2021. In late January of this year, the Tigers farm system received the kind of progress report that would make most parents beam with pride. With the addition of number 1 overall pick Spencer Torkelson in last year's draft, the organization has 5 prospects among MLB Pipeline's top 100. And in fact, all 5 are in the top 25. No other team can claim more than 2. Now, it's just a matter of time before fans start seeing the dividends at the big league level.
It would be very unusual for a farm system and prospects as highly regarded as Detroit's not to pay off. Just in recent history, we saw the Astros get better quicker than people thought, go on and win a World Series. We saw the Cubs, had many losing seasons in a row, and then all of a sudden, bam, 2015, they're in the NL Championship Series, and they win the World Series next year. I've seen it happen before, so I think the future's really, really bright.
At the head of the class is the most prized hitter of the 2020 draft. For quite some time, Tigers' top prospect Spencer Torkelson has possessed talents that others his age simply could not match. However, while it's always put him at the front of the pack, he's always been behind his ultimate goal.
I'm always thinking a step ahead. So when I was in high school, I was thinking of myself in professional baseball, and in college, I was thinking of myself in Major League Baseball.
There was a lot of, this guy might be the best all-around offensive player to come out of the draft in 20 years. I guess the consensus I kind of reached from talking to a bunch of people was at least the best since Mark Teixeira.
It's a really good swing. He's a strong kid. He's an athletic kid. He's got adjustability.
Still, the top pick in the 2020 draft has seen his mental makeup take yet another step while with the Tigers.
I think it's just repetition for the most part. Everyone becomes more comfortable where they are with repetition.
Including his transition to the hot corner after spending his entire 129-game college career at first, a move which is coming along quite nicely.
He fits in profile-wise, and Ramon Santiago and Alan Trammell were big helps working with him.
I'm going to take it to heart and try to be a gold glover because, anything other than that isn't acceptable.
There's a lot of things that he does, beyond being one heck of a baseball player that push an organization forward, and it's exciting for us.
Spencer wasn't the Tigers' only talented draft pick from Arizona State this past year. The Tigers also took his friend and teammate in the 4th round. As far as names go, the Workman family should be in the Hall of Fame. Just ask Tigers' 2020 4th round pick Gage to explain.
So it's my older brother Trey, and then it's me, and then my younger brother Bittner, and then my sister Rhea, and then my youngest brother Cutter. My mom played basketball, so Trey. Tater, my middle name, was my grandpa's nickname in high school. And my dad was like, well, we're doing that as middle name because Tater is home run in baseball. Bittner was a prophet in our church, and then Cutter was, it's a pitch. I have to say my sister too, Rhea, that's an old family member. They're kind of all over the place.
However, that's to be expected growing up in an area known to some as the Dust Bowl, Queen Creek, Arizona.
Like what you'd picture Arizona if you've never been to Arizona. Just kind of dirt, cactus, that kind of a place. I have uncles that are cowboys, some family members that do the whole rodeo scene and that type of stuff. That's not particularly me.
The work ethic part is, though, as Tater hit a home run by putting in the effort to graduate from Basha High School a year early. The result was arriving at one of the best collegiate programs a full year ahead of schedule. Arizona State was also the school his father, friend, coach, and sometimes athletic foe Wid once played for back in the day. before ending up in pro ball himself.
I still, in the offseason, go home and he throws me BP every night. But if I ever try to pimp a home run off him, like a cage bomb or anything like that, it's game on.
We're talking about a 6'4" switch hitter who's got bat speed.
My dad was like, as soon as we could pick up a bat, he was like, "You're switch hitting." He saw the Mickey Mantle, Chipper Jones switch hitters, and he's like, if you can do it from both sides, then they can't take you out of the lineup ever.
From Gage and Spencer putting in the work to another Tiger who couldn't, at least not for a while. More on that when we return.
We went from 0 to, or actually 100 to 0. From playing every day to, not having anything to do.
Dillon Dingler knows firsthand how much COVID-19 impacted 2020. First, the pandemic shut down his college season, and then his instructional league opportunity never came because he contracted the coronavirus himself. Through it all, the Tigers stayed in touch with their second-round draft pick, made sure he was getting the help he needed in transitioning to pro ball.
We contact the players frequently and work with them in regards to the off-season programs and strength and conditioning during different times of the year, but particularly in the off-season.
The result should be a catching standout who's ready for his next challenge come spring, especially if he shares the mindset of another second-round Tigers pick from the past year. When Tigers outfield prospect Daniel Cabrera steps onto a baseball field, he doesn't come to play, he comes to dominate.
I don't play this game just to be an average Joe, I don't want to just make it to the bigs. I want to be an impact player. I want to win World Series, hopefully MVPs, and have my name in Cooperstown.
It shows in his demeanor and work ethic.
He's a guy that really can slow the game down at the plate. He sees a pitch or sees a breaking ball and processes it, and then the next swing it's on.
That sweet lefty stroke at the plate took the Louisiana native to some exciting places early on in his career. Daniel won a state championship playing for his brother-in-law in high school, signed with national powerhouse LSU, and played for the 2018 U.S. Collegiate National Team. However, as good as he's been as a player, Cabrera as a person may be even better. Want evidence? Look no further than his wearing of the number 8 jersey at Louisiana State.
Yeah, it's something that Mikey Matuk started. He just kind of started the thing where he passes his number down to the leader of the team, I guess you can say, the leader on and off the field.
Hearing those stories, everything seems to match up. I can see this guy being a leader as he gets here more and gets to know everybody.
In case you're wondering, this Cabrera is no relation to the Tigers' 2-time MVP and future Hall of Famer. But for another 2020 draft pick, the family name is where his baseball story begins. He knows you recognize the Cruz name on the back of his jersey, but don't get it twisted. Trey is not Jose Sr. or Jose Jr.
My dad's a very reserved guy, very laid back, very, go with the flow. I'm more of a high energy guy. I know our swings ourselves, believe it or not, are actually similar. I can't help that. As far as my grandpa goes, I think my playing style is a little more like him than my dad.
Still, their baseball stories intertwine like crazy. Like when Trey was drafted out of high school by Houston, the team which retired Senior's jersey and saw Junior finish his career.
I personally didn't think I was ready, but it was definitely a decision I thought about. And my dad said, he told me, no way you're going to the Astros right now. You're going to wait 3 years.
Next, it was on to Rice University, where he hit nearly 300 for his career with an OPS just shy of 900.
My coach my freshman year was Wayne Graham. Who had coached my father, my uncle, and my grandfather. We had a game my sophomore year. I have my best game I've ever had. The interviewer goes, "Hey, how does it feel? You got 9 RBIs, you came in second in school history." And I was like, "Man, really? Who came in first?" And they're like, "Well, your father, Jose Cruz Jr., got 10. And I was like, "You gotta be kidding me, man."
I think what impressed me about him was he just got better. He just was a much more mature player, talking to scouts who saw him. And known him for a while.
Those very skills could eventually help the Cruz clan become just the 5th family in the history of baseball to have a grandfather, father, and son play in the big leagues. Pressure at the highest level is something the Cruz pair could one day share, with Dad being hired as the Tigers' assistant hitting coach at the end of last year. Now, wouldn't that be a fitting final chapter to the story? Up next, we'll check in on a former prep star who's burning up the road to Detroit, as well as a teenager with big dreams of his own.
I mean, it's still early in his career, but I think he's exceeded expectations, which is pretty incredible to say for a guy who went number 5 overall.
My confidence is the highest it's ever been.
The baseball world should take that statement very seriously. Just 20 years old, Tigers outfielder Riley Green is already a top 25 prospect in all of baseball and showing no signs of slowing thanks to an ever-improving hit tool that was already considered special a year ago.
Opposite field power, showcasing it here, Dan, going the other way.
I'll bet by the end of next year, guys will graduate too. Riley Green might be like a top 5 prospect in baseball. I mean, we might be talking about a guy who's like a 300-plus hitter with 30 home runs a year and a chance to play center field.
He makes a tremendous catch!
He gets better every day. Like, it's wild, but he does. He's quick to respond to it and get it done. And that's with him already being a great player.
My swing got way better. I wouldn't really say I changed it. My approach changed and my mindset to things changed.
Due in large part to spending the summer at Comerica Park when Major League camps reopened before the 2020 season. It was there that the Florida native, who had slugged over 900 in Tigers spring training games, learned a lesson or two.
Being up there, it was like a whole new ball game. I mean, the pitching's better from what I saw when I was in low A. You got to know things that maybe you weren't really thinking about in low A.
Had a great summer camp with the Tigers in Detroit this past summer, then went to Toledo and continued to play well. So, there's no ceiling for this guy from what we see so far. He's advanced for a high school player that we drafted a year and a half ago or so, and he's just showing it every day.
That is a big-time play by Riley Green. He robbed Crone of a homer.
I mean, I'm always motivated to try to make it to the big leagues.
As well as driven by past criticism.
A little concerned coming out of last summer about his defense, the profile, where he'd go, the run grade.
I'm still trying to get better in the outfield. I can always get better, and just having that thing in the back of my head from when I first got drafted, people saying I wasn't good enough. I mean, yeah, it's still there, so I'm still going to work hard at it every single day.
You see a much bigger, stronger young man now, and I think there'll be more strength to come. But as to where it shows up, I think it'll help as far as durability goes. It clearly helps in power, bat speed probably to some degree.
I'm excited to show my swing and show my outfield skills. We've been working really hard down here and in Toledo too. So I feel like I've gotten a lot better as a player overall.
With Green laying out the blueprint to quickly rise through the minor leagues, another former high school standout is hoping to follow it.
I'm going to go out there and give it all I got. I'm never going to give up. I'm going to work harder than everybody else. I'm going to, make those strides that are whatever is needed to be made. I'm going to do it.
At just 19 years old, Colt Keith is not only willing to make the adjustments, he's already proven he can.
I was born in southeast Ohio in a little town called Zanesville. And we lived in Ohio until I was about 10. And we moved out to St. George, Utah. Just in look for a better future for not only me and my brother, but for my parents with jobs and stuff. Lived in Utah for a few years and ultimately decided to go down to Phoenix, Arizona. We lived in Arizona for my freshman and sophomore year, and my mom's job forced us to move down to Mississippi.
Yes, the Tigers' 5th-round draft pick in 2020 has always adapted on the fly, no matter where his home has been or even which sport he's participated in.
We grew up wrestling. My dad wrestled all through high school and all through college, and he was a wrestling coach. Baseball wasn't a big thing for me. It's just something I did, during the spring and the summer. I was in 8th grade. I gave up wrestling for baseball full time, and then the next year I got my Arizona State offer.
2 seasons later, as a junior at Biloxi High, the 6'3", 195-pounder was named Gatorade's Mississippi Baseball Player of the Year. Now, entering his first season of pro ball, it's the bat that continues to impress.
I'd say the power is what intrigues me. He's a physical young player that is going to grow into more strength, and the way he can impact the baseball is impressive at this point in time.
At one point, I had a huge leg kick, and I'll be honest, just because Bryce Harper had one and I thought it looked cool. But once I got, up into bigger levels and people were throwing 90 plus on a regular basis, that leg kick didn't work, and I had to make, just self-adjustment. The moment you get comfortable is the moment you stop getting better. I have enough confidence in myself that I think I can make the big leagues in 3 to 4 years.
When we return, the television play-by-play voice of the Tigers, Matt Shepard, reports on 2 pitchers who made their much-anticipated Major League debuts this past summer.
With the first selection of the 2018 MLB Draft, the Detroit Tigers select Casey Mize.
The age of the Tigers.
Casey Mize, a no-hitter.
It's really good to get back out there, look at the stadium, and just realize that this is what I want.
Like to have him right now.
Good night. Starting pitcher for the Tigers is Casey Mize.
1-2 to Moncada. Oh, got him. First of many.
It's safe to say that Casey Mize's start on August 19th of 2020 was one of the most anticipated Major League debuts in recent Tigers history, and rightfully so. Drafted just a little over 2 years earlier, the former #1 overall pick impressed me with the poise he showed on the mound that day, providing a glimpse of what's to come.
My goal is to be the best pitcher in the American League. And some people might scoff at that or, whatever. But in my time at Auburn, I had a great head coach in Butch Thompson. And, he was always in the pregame speeches, he was giving us quotes and, things to think on. And one that stuck with me is people don't fail because they aim high and miss. It's because they aim low and hit.
Mize knows multiple improvements will need to be made following a rookie season which had its highs.
That's a 1-2-3 start for Casey Mize.
And lows.
It looks like that's the end of the night for Casey Mize.
However, if the past helps us predict the future, don't count Casey out.
When I first got to Auburn in college, my first season didn't go very well. And, I was super motivated to get a lot better. And I finished up my last 2 years there and, turned it around and had some really quality seasons and became a really good player. When I first got to pro ball, my first summer did not go very well. And, I was really motivated that off season. And, that first season I got off to a really good start and, advanced pretty quickly and had a really good year. And so, I'm hoping that the trend continues.
Those within the Tigers organization believe Casey's strong work ethic will lead to better results in 2021.
If Casey does anything, he prepares and he makes adjustments, and him going through what he did and learning the lessons that he did learn, against the best hitters in the world are going to make him better for the future, and that's who he is. I'm just, really focused right now and really motivated. So I'm excited to see what's going to come. I do have plans, to work on the breaking ball, whatever that kind of looks like. If it's a slider, if it's a square or curved ball, I really just want to have a really just much improved breaking ball.
He's extremely committed to being a successful pitcher. He puts the time in. He spends a lot of time thinking about it, and he's all about performing well, and there's no doubt in my mind that he's learned a lot from the opportunity that he had at the Major League level this year, and will only get better as time goes on.
Mize and others in the organization have the same expectations for teammate and fellow starting pitcher Tarik Skubal.
Coming from college and the draft not going how he expected, and his last year not going how he expected, and Tommy John surgery and everything, it's really cool to see his journey.
Skubal may not have taken the same path to the major leagues as Mize, but they're linked together in the role they're each being asked to play in baseball's rebirth in the Motor City.
3 pitches and Buxton's gone.
He just went right at him and blew him away right there.
If you're drawing it up in Detroit, Casey Mize is your #1 star of the future, and Manning's probably your #2, and Skubal's your #3. And, it kind of reminds me of those young Braves teams. And, I mean, Maddox came in as a free agent, but they had Maddox and Glavin and Smoltz, and they won 14 division titles in a row or whatever it was.
All involved with the Tigers hope similar results sit just beyond the horizon. Ask Skubal, the former 9th-round draft pick, how he's feeling heading into 2021, and he's quick to answer.
Motivated and locked in. I think those are two things. So just motivated to get better every day, and then dialed in and locked in on my craft and trying to get better on the mound and then off the in the weight room and whatever else.
A career high 8 punch outs for Skubal.
It's something that's very noticeable, and Matt Manning and Skubal and Faedo and Casey, you watch those guys at the alternate site, and that group definitely feeds off Skubal and the way he approaches things. And it's some guys kind of do that, and it's kind of false, confidence or false bravado. That's just what Skubal does, man. That's just who he is.
I don't think I've ever been as motivated to get better and to work harder and push myself to see what the potential is.
Up next, we hear from the third member of the Tigers' promising pitching trifecta, who hopes to make his major league debut in 2021.
Matt Manning watched last year's MLB playoffs, and he saw some young arms take to the mound and compete. The conclusion the Tigers' top 5 prospect drew?
The way I throw and the way I pitch, it fits very well into kind of that game style, and having a good, strong curveball and be able to throw a nice changeup off that.
Now the 2019 Eastern League Pitcher of the Year just needs to break into the big leagues himself. 2020 saw the 6'6" righty get invited to summer camp, where he faced top-tier competition before he was sent to the alternate training site in Toledo. But the year ended in disappointment, as the Tigers' number 3 prospect was shut down early due to a forearm strain. Still, he was able to take a positive from it.
I was able to kind of take a step back. I've been working on my mechanics, and I've been getting to a place where I think it's going to be more consistent. I think recently I've taken a step in with kind of my diet stuff and my workouts and my work ethic. And right now I think I'm just a lot more routine oriented.
We're ecstatic as to where he's at right now. There's no doubt this guy has a very high ceiling and is going to be a good starter for us for a very long time.
I mean, I think he could be a number 1 starter. He throws a lot of strikes, misses bats, keeps getting better. The fact that he does it so easily gives him a chance to carry deeper in the games and control and command it better.
If it all plays out accordingly, the 23-year-old should be the next top talent to join Tarik Skubal and Casey Mize in Detroit, with more to come in the not-too-distant future.
We had kind of the 4 guys, and maybe Joey Wentz as the 5th, as the high-end starting pitching prospects. Mize and Skubal got to the big leagues this year, and Faedo and Manning and Wentz are, we're still in the minor leagues. So, and in Manning's case, he didn't get the normal background that many of the other guys got, kind of on their way through the youth level and travel teams and showcases and that sort of stuff. So in some ways it's more positive and there's more potential there.
I don't think there's any restrictions from going into 2021, but before we know it, it'll be here and we'll get after it.
Yes, each new year brings new expectations, but it's safe to say what was once tabbed a rebuild for the Tigers could soon turn into a resurgence.
I think it's very much a reality. I think you're starting to see the pieces line. There's, at the big league level, and there will be more that are going to come up and have an impact as well.
If you look at the very, very best farm systems, more often than not, they almost always pay off with playoff berths and potential championships down the road.
I think that's what's exciting, and I think that's the goal for this club.